Welcome to our third episode of Monday Morning Express. Today, we're coming to you from our broadcast studio. And we're going to give you a little glimpse of what it's like to get in a large brass collection into our facility. Always one of my favorite times.
Yes, absolutely. Also on the show you can look forward to today is we're going to be speaking with Mr. Chuck Sted of Union Terminal Imports. Yes, UTI out in California.
Then I'm going to tell you one of my personal favorite stories, what it's like to match up 5,000 pieces of brass with 5,000 empty boxes, all in a 4-story house. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Dan, as we talked about last week in our behind the scenes, we're going to give you an inside look at one of our favorite features here at our facility at BrassTrains.com. And of course, the reason why we need our cup of coffee to get us going in the morning. All right, Dan, now fill us in on our collection updates.
Well, me and my two boys were in Chicago a few weeks ago packing up a large brass train collection. And I'm happy to say it just arrived. But rather than telling you about what came in, we're going to show you a quick sneak peek. So you know what's a good Monday morning? When a delivery of brass model train shows up. So you're about to see me like a kid in a candy store. This is part of this job that never gets old. So you get to see now what it's like when a collection comes in, and we're going to unload it, and pretty soon you're going to see it on the site. Now for the fun part, we get to go inside and unload them all. So all of those things you've seen on those shelves, you're going to be able to start looking for those on the BrassTrains.com site starting this week. Here's just a few of what you're going to be able to look forward to finding on the site. I just wanted to bring your attention to the beautiful custom paintwork, like on this Overland weed sprayer set. The paint and the detail work is just beautiful on this set, and that's very representative of what we have in this collection. Then we have this Hallmark Santa Fe Bulldog diesel. You know, I can't figure out why they call it a bulldog. Anyways, we'll give you more updates on collections next week.
All right, and now we're going to talk with Mr. Chuck Sted of Union Terminal Imports. We got Chuck on the phone via Skype. How you doing today, Chuck?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
We're doing well.
Good, Chuck. Good to see you.
Yeah. So
Likewise.
How are things out in your neck of the woods?
Great. We got a little sun today. We've had a lot of rain, which we need in California.
Excellent, excellent.
Hey, you got a little time to work on your layout on them rainy days?
Absolutely. And since you guys saw it, made a lot of progress, laid some more track. It's almost done. I've got a guy, some on the viewing may know, a guy named Art Souza in Southern California that builds scratch buildings. He's building a couple more for me. I've already got about a dozen of his, and building me a big engine house and a hotel to go behind the train station in that big spot you saw.
Beautiful. Hey, it looked great, Chuck. The trains ran flawless on there. Very nice. Looking forward to seeing you get that finished up.
Thank you.
Yeah, send us some pictures when you do. Hey, listen, we got a couple minutes to spend with you here, and we wanted you to be able to bring our audience up to speed as far as some of your upcoming projects, and then I know a little bit later you're going to give us some new announcements. So why don't you start with the E units? I believe that's the next to be delivered, the second portion of there. Where do we stand with that?
Correct. The SP versions are going to be shipped to the U.S. on February 15th. Seho told me that last night. He also sent me some pictures of them at the painters, and they look absolutely fabulous. And then the rest of the E units are due to come in at the end of March.
Okay, very good. Now, do you still have reservations available on those, or are we sold out?
E units are long ago sold out.
Good for you, and good for those who got them, right? Very good.
Absolutely. And as I mentioned at Brass Expo, we only build to reservations. So,
Okay.
Yeah, the one thing I don't know is whether any of our dealers ordered any that they don't have reservations against. So if anybody still wants to try to get a hold of one, check with your dealer.
Okay, very good. And then after that, I believe we've got the PAs that are set to come. Is that correct?
PAs are set to come now on June 5th, according to Seho.
Okay.
And I hope to get some pictures that you guys can include in this session of the PAs in the process of being soldered together.
Yep,
Seho,
that would be great.
Yeah, Seho told me last night that they're soldering everything together now.
Excellent. And as far as reservations on those?
Sold out.
Sold out. Excellent. I know we have just
Seems
a couple
to be a
left.
theme going on here. Sold out with UTI.
Very
Yeah, we like that. Sold out.
Very good. And then after that, I believe it's the cross Maffes, right?
Right. Cross Muffets are, we're looking at January 2018 for delivery of the final models. We have 82 reservations right now, and Seho has agreed to build a total of 100 models, but we can increase that. We're still at a stage where we can increase the quantities if we get more than 100 reservations. So we have 4 different units. They're hood units, so different from the ones that Jack Vansworth is doing through Division Point, which are cowl bodies. So cowl bodies are full body units. These are hood units where you've got a walkway on either side of the long hood. And also, all 4 versions have never been done before. And one of them is as the 9010 is today at Niles Canyon, which is just about 7 miles from my house.
Oh, very
Nice.
cool.
Hey,
Yeah,
Chuck, that hood version, I think the only other importer that's ever done that was like Overland way back, like tank drive unpainted, right?
That's exactly right. That's as far as I know. I've actually worked on one of those for a friend of mine who has one, and somebody put a beautiful paint job on it, but
Yeah.
It's just practically impossible to get to run well as compared with these smooth new drives.
Very nice. And hey, Chuck, we're seeing these across the screen as you speak right now. I just wanted to highlight the one, it's the 9010 one you talked about, the PLA version, which is the Pacific Locomotive Association's one. You talked about it there. That comes in a special presentation box, as you mentioned?
Correct.
Okay.
To commemorate the restoration.
Okay, very good. So
Do you have a
we look forward to
number?
that.
Do you have a number of how many of those you're making in the special presentation box?
Well, again, it's based on reservations,
Okay.
and I didn't check the list before we got on the call. I at the moment I think we're roughly even, quarter of the each of the versions is running roughly the same quantity right now. So I don't know the exact number, but it'll be whatever number we have reservations for will be in that special box.
And you said there's a little time, but there's not a lot of time, right? The customers need to get them reservations in soon if they really want one of those.
Absolutely. Once we get the stages we go through are the research and then the CAD drawings and then building a pilot model and correcting that and then going into production. And we're moving right along here. So once we start production, that's when the reservations get frozen. So, and we're moving along with the project. So, yes, absolutely, get your reservations in.
Very good. Now, what else you got that you want to inform the audience about?
Well, we've started working on a project that I have long dreamt about, which is the Illinois Central City of New Orleans and City of Miami in the late 50s and then through the 60s. The IC they took a lot of their heavyweight cars and then they got Pullman built shells for them and they completely refurbished them so that if a quick glance at them, they look like modern streamlined smooth side cars. But you look again and you see 3-axle trucks and a lot more heavyweight aspects of it underneath them. But they match profile-wise with the smooth side modern Pullman built and ACF built cars of that era. So we've started working on the project. I am leaning my elbows on a pile of research material.
Very nice.
And most of this has come from a man named John Pitts in Chicago, who is, for the guys that follow Illinois Central, most of them know John, and they regard him as the #1 expert in Illinois Central. So this is going to be the orange and chocolate gray train.
That was my question, okay. Hey, give us a peek, Chuck. We see the data, give us a peek.
Well, here's just one example of the kind of quality of data that we have. John sent us these very large format detailed railroad. These are actually the railroad's drawings.
Nice.
And so I've got these for every car. And so there's probably 15 or 20 different types of cars in here. We're going to be doing the unique tail car as one example that a lot of the IC guys have really always wanted for a long time.
Very nice. And I believe you said that they're in 8 car sets?
We're going to do an 8-car set of the City of Miami, an 8-car set of the City of New Orleans, and then we'll be doing 3-car add-on packs so you can stretch it out to what was typically around a 14-car train.
Oh, very nice. Can't wait for those. That's we'll have that on our site too at brasstrains.com here, allowing people to make reservations for those in the very near future. So.
Chuck, were those pulled by E-units? What was the motive power?
Yes, they were E-units, E7s, 8s, and 9s, and we're gonna. We've said that we're going to do a second run of E-units. We are, and that'll be the opportunity for us to kick off the second E-unit project.
So you'll likely do the power to match up to the set.
Yes.
So if somebody wants that full train, they need to reserve the set right away, and then when they get the chance, reserve those E-units.
Exactly.
Very nice.
Very good.
I asked Seho to keep the tooling from this first E-unit project because the real trick, as everybody knows, is the noses. And, he's keeping the tooling. So if you like what we've done so far with the first run of E-units, you'll like the second run too.
Oh, they're going to be beautiful.
Can't wait, Chuck. Very nice. Hey, before I let you go, I wanted to mention, you wanted to mention about the Golden State cars, that project. Oh,
well, we have, we had announced the 1955-56 Golden State, which is, I think we said at Brax Expo, it's just not going to happen.
Okay.
No matter what we've done, we don't have enough reservations.
Okay.
However, I've salvaged the smooth side 10-6 sleepers out of that project, and I don't have enough reservations yet. But if you look at the website, there's a wide variety of railroads and paint schemes and lettering of foreign roads on other railroads' colors, and we're going to do a smooth side and a fluted version. So the project, it needs more reservations. So if you want 10-6 sleepers for run-through trains or trains, railroads you already have, take a look at our website and get your reservations in. That'll help us. We have the drawings all done, ready to send to the builder, and I just need more reservations.
Excellent. Okay, will do. Well, Chuck, we certainly appreciate you taking a few minutes out and talking with us here on the Monday Morning Express. We wish you well, and tell Ed Krasinski. We know he's your side partner there. He does a lot of work too, so tell him we said hi, and it was just good talking with you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Chuck. We mentioned last week you guys are one of our favorite builders now, favorite importers rather. So I know your name's getting out there, but for people that don't know you guys yet, they're going to be thrilled when they open their first yellow box of UTI, whatever it is. It's really first class stuff you guys are producing.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Chuck, we'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. And now for some project updates. In speaking with Division Point and Jack Vansworth, we see that the Cross MFAs are almost sold out. We only have one version left on our site available. They're also closing their data package on the RS project, so please make sure to get your reservations in. Next, key model imports. David DeVita, on the O-Scale SP Cab Forward project, we have only one of each of these still available, the AC7, AC8, and AC10. We hope to give you a quick peek as soon as these beauties arrive here at our facility. PSC, Precision Scale, they have the Great Northern W1 Electrics shipping to dealers on February 10th through 12th. We received some pictures from Mark Mogensen of the production samples, which have now been received, and he tells us final approval has been given. Very few remain available, so check our website for those versions. Next up, the Milwaukee Road F7, still taking reservations for those. The Seaboard P1 project, the 462, drawings are being done right now by Burim. 85 total units, it's almost a sellout, so get your reservations in. The RF&P Berkshires 284, still looking for some reservations in order to get this project into production. And then the O-Scale C&O H7 2882, big articulated model, total of 42, just a few reservations left. This is going to be a beautiful piece we are looking forward to. Some new announcements from PSC to look forward to are this. They tell us the DM&IR 0102 S7 class. Several versions being produced, and we hope to have that listed shortly. They're also going to come out with a Frisco 1500 class 482, a total of 7 versions, including one semi-streamlined version. And then the Milwaukee ES2 Electrics coming in 6 version. Now, in the coming weeks, we will be speaking with Mr. Lee Marsh of the Lee Marsh Model Company from the UK. He has some models that he is looking to build, and from what we've seen at the Brass Expo from this importer, we're in for some high-quality pieces. So look for that in the coming weeks.
Welcome to Current Trends in 60 seconds. One trend we've been noticing is that small steam is selling very well. Engines like Challenger Import Southern Pacific 060s are gaining in value nicely. Other importers, especially later run models that are factory painted with full in-cab detail and a can motor and small steam, are selling very well. Part of the reason we think this is because these days producing a small steam engine or a large steam engine, it's not that great a difference in cost, and it's easier to sell that large steam engine to the customers. So a lot of importers in recent years haven't been doing a lot of small steam, and that means your older production models are likely to gain in value. We've even noticed some diesel switchers are gaining in value, including older Overland unpainted models, even some Alcos. The price isn't huge, but we're definitely seeing that trend going up. We'll tell you more next week in our Market Trends. Welcome to our favorite non-model railroad part of our facility. As you can see, this is our basketball court. We work hard during the week, and it's always nice to have a little place to relax and get a little exercise. For many of us, it's a stress reliever. So we play here sometimes during lunches, evenings, on the weekends we get some of our buddies together. But one of the perks of working for BrassTrains.com is you get to be one of the guys that plays if you want to, and can use this whenever you want. It's kind of neat. When we found this facility, it used to be a private school, and you're going to see a little more of it through the coming weeks. But weren't we surprised when we came into this building, which we were expecting to be our warehouse, and found this beautiful basketball court. We just refinished it and decided to leave it here as something the guys could use, and it's really brought us a lot of joy. However, a lot of times we end up playing on Sunday nights, and so that's why we were alluding to the fact that we need that Monday morning coffee, because some of us are not getting younger, and we find we get a little more sore and a little tired, but we enjoy it a lot. So stop by sometime and we'll play a little game of horse. So I promised I'd tell you one of my favorite stories. It was in some ways one of the funnest 8 days of my life, and in some ways the hardest 8 days of my life. We had an opportunity to purchase a collection from an individual who was at one time one of our best customers. In fact, he helped us out a lot when we did our first publication, the Brass Train Guidebook, the full color book. A lot of the models were his in that book that he let us photograph. Anyhow, we got a call one day, and he decided to go back to his first love, which was tin plate. He had started collecting Ives and very early Lionel and many other very valuable tin plate models. And so he was ready to divest of his brass collection. Well, this was no ordinary collection. He had about 5,000 pieces. Almost everything was late run, either factory painted or professionally painted. A lot of Overland, Challenger, Key, and many different scales: narrow gauge, logging, diesel, steam, HO, O-scale, you name it, it was there. So we took a team of 11 people up to his house, and as I mentioned, we were there for about 8 days. What we had to do first was go to his storage units. There was about 4 large storage units just full of empty boxes. It took multiple trips in a 26-foot U-Haul just to get the boxes over to his house. He had a large outdoor tent that you see sometimes people set up for a big party, and he had that set up for us in his yard, and that's where our team started to organize those boxes as much as they could. So from there, my job was to match all of his trains with those empty boxes. Meanwhile, as soon as I would match them, we had a team that was packaging them, and then another team that would bring them over to Roland. And then Roland, we didn't have an inventory list, so he was having to log those in on his computer. And 5,000 models rolls off the tongue, but it's a lot of models. And the crazy thing is this collector had everything displayed, which I have never seen for a collection of that magnitude, to have that many models displayed. When we were downstairs in the lowest level of his house, it was probably 40-foot lawn, maybe 7-foot ceilings, and he had shelves from floor to ceiling. But the models were nose out. That's how many models were on display downstairs. And just to give you an idea how expansive it was, I remember we would pull out these diesels, and then there would be like 2004 run Overland turbines behind them. Everything was in great shape. He handled everything with care, but it took a long time to match all those up. And meanwhile, he had these extremely valuable tin plate models there, and we had to be super cautious not to bump those when we were pulling other things out. And as I mentioned, it was 4 stories, his house, and naturally all the big O-scale models were way up high in his highest level of his home there, and so we had to trudge all that downstairs. Just to give you a glimpse of what our day was like, we normally got there about 7:30 in the morning, and we normally worked till about 9:30 at night with very short breaks for lunch and dinner, if you could call it that. It was normally eat a sandwich and get immediately back to work. And then for myself, when I got back to the motel room, I had to price things out till about 2:30 in the morning because we had a parameter of a deal in place, but we had to make sure everything was looking as we expected by the time it was done. So we carried on day after day, and I know Roland, I think his neck and back still hurt from that, from being hunched over trying to punt that data in, and I was so sore I could barely move after it. But I mean, for somebody who loves brass model trains, it was kind of like a brass model train paradise. And the collector, we can't name him, but what a gracious host. Bringing 11 people in there was kind of like a home invasion, but a very friendly one. We tried not to be intrusive, and he was so gracious. What a wonderful fellow to work with. And you know, that's one of the things personally I love about this business is we meet so many great people. And we're very fortunate that we're able to give very fair offers to people, oftentimes more money than they could get anywhere else, even if they sold it themselves on eBay or something. And yet we're able to run a successful business. So it makes me feel good, and I know the rest of our team does too. In fact, on a kind of unrelated subject, I just got this email in right before we taped this. And I can't name the people, but they says, "Hi Dan, the check came last week. My husband and I want to thank you and your staff for the ease and professionalism of the transaction from start to finish. Thanks to Brass Trains, we are now financially able to retire and move to Washington." So it makes us feel good that we can do a service of sorts while still enjoying what we do, loving our job. We're very grateful of it, and we don't take it for granted. So that's our story for this week.
Well, Dan, that was just a great story. Seems like it just happened yesterday. I know both of our families got to go there on this particular trip, and we certainly appreciated the hospitality of the household and all that we were able to achieve. Well, next week we got another show prepared for you, and certainly we want to welcome you back to that, as we no doubt have another guest that we're going to be able to interview. Something we also wanted to bring to your attention is, you know, we're always talking about our Monday Morning Express coffee mugs here, and we've gotten a lot of comments on those. Well, here's what we'd like to do. We're asking you, our audience, to come up with some questions or points that you would like to see us mention or discuss here on the show. And if we go ahead and use those in an upcoming episode and we mention your first name, we're going to go ahead and send you a mug so that you can feel a part of the team. So we certainly look forward to that, Dan.
Yeah, and same goes for anybody who's been a guest on the show. We'll get your mug in the mail too. And also, please keep giving us your feedback. Let us know if there's parts of the show you want to see more of, if there's parts you want to see less of. And your feedback's really going to drive how we run future episodes. We really appreciate that.
Absolutely. And you know, next week we're going to go back inside to our facility here at BrassTrains.com. And we're going to take a little in-depth look at our museum, something that some of you have seen at the 2016 Brass Expo, but it's gotten bigger and even better. So we have some nice things that we want to show you on next week's show.
And we're going to tell you a little story about when we had the opportunity to go up to Edmonds, Washington, and handle the PFM collection at their facility. It was a special opportunity for us that also presented some unique challenges. So we'll tell you about that, and I know a lot of you might enjoy that because several of our customers ended up with some pieces from the PFM collection. So thanks again for joining us. We'll see you next week on Monday Morning Express.